Hi everybody, welcome back. This is Kim. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. This one is going to be an interesting one. Somebody else did a video about their average delivery. They calculated what their average delivery amount was. And I decided to take a little different view, and I am going to look at all the tips I have received over the year 2021 from Doordash, Grubhub, and Uber Eats, and basically compile some data to determine which platforms I got the best tips from. This is going to be a little data heavy, but I tried to simplify it. It's super interesting. So anyways, these are my actual numbers from 2021. These are my actual calculations. So yeah, let's move forward here. Okay, so I have a spreadsheet with tons of data. I track every day that I go out. Basically the date, the amount of hours I'm out there, how many deliveries I do, and it's broken down by each platform. So I have a section for DoorDash, a section for Uber Eats, and a section for Grubhub. I have the base pay on there, tips on there, any peak pay or extra pay for whatever reason, and how many miles I go. That's the data that I have on this spreadsheet. I've never calculated my average tip per delivery before, and I thought this would be really interesting. So I'm going to figure the average of my tips for each week for each platform. Some weeks I don't go out at all or much, and I realize that data is not very useful if I've only done like one delivery or something, but it's still going to be included because it is part of the earnings. This should be pretty interesting. Hope you enjoy it. So what data will I use? I'm going to take the total tips received per platform per week, divide that amount by the number of deliveries made, and that will give me the average tip per delivery for that week for each platform. Oh yeah, gotta remember to ask you to please subscribe. I'm over 400 now. It's super exciting. So if you've already subscribed, that's fantastic. When I look at my analytics, about 70% of the people who watch my videos are not subscribed. So I would really appreciate it if you do subscribe. I would really, really enjoy that. Anyways, okay, back to this. Let's see. So anyways, what I said is I was going to take the total tips, the total amount of tips, divide that by the number of deliveries, and that will give me the average tip. Okay, I will compare each platform each week and see which one was the best. Cash tips will be discussed later towards the end of this video. They are not included in the data, mainly because I didn't keep track of them for some reason. But moving forward, I will. Keep in mind, this is only my data that I'm using. This pertains only to my personal experience, and your mileage may vary. I hope some other people do this because it's pretty interesting. Okay, so this is what it's going to look like. This is last January. I started doing DoorDash 2 days before Christmas last year, on the 23rd of December. That data, that first week, is not included in this. I started the week starting January 4th. So none of the holiday weeks are in here. I just wanted to completely just have January, the year 2021. So I'm missing the first 3 days here. But this is kind of how I have it broken out on my spreadsheet. So this is the way it's going to go. So anyways, the average tip, this is not the average earnings. This is just the tip. $6.15. I did not do Grubhub or Uber Eats yet. This is the first week I started Grubhub here. So anyway, $6.54, $6.87 and $7, $6.28, $4.31. So you can kind of see. When I first started doing Grubhub, I didn't really know what I was. I knew what I was doing, but I didn't know that they had such low tips on Grubhub. Yeah, anyways, that's a whole other video. Okay, it's February. So $7.42, $7.90, $6.85. Here on Grubhub we got $3.69, $5.01, $3.07, This was the first week I did Uber Eats. As you can see, that was pretty low, $2.69. And I believe this was only one delivery. I was just trying it to see what would happen. Yeah, my first several Uber Eats were really terrible. So anyways, yeah, so that's February. Here's March. As you can see, DoorDash is pretty much the highest one, followed by Grubhub. And, well, Uber Eats actually beats Grubhub for tip amounts. Grubhub at this time, though, I was making a lot in earnings because the Grubhub portion was pretty big. That changed later on, but at this time, I was doing decent on Grubhub with these lower tip amounts. But anyways, here's April. Still 6s and 7s for DoorDash. 5s mostly for Grubhub. I didn't do any Uber Eats. Here's May. This is all 2021. So 6s and 7s. Here's 9 this last week. That was a good week there. And look at Grubhubs. They're getting a little bit better. A couple 9s, a couple 6s. No Uber Eats. There's 7, 8s, and 9s for DoorDash. This is June. Grubhub. We had one good week here. I think that might have been Father's Day. No, I don't think so. Maybe graduation. I don't remember when Father's Day was, but Uber Eats. This was, I remember this one. It was alcohol delivery. And I got a nice big tip there, $11 tip, whatever. This was just for one delivery. But I thought that was pretty fantastic for Uber Eats because up until then I hadn't really gotten any great tips for Uber Eats. Okay, anyways, here's July. 7s, 6, 7s, and 8s, 4s and 5s. Uber Eats kind of all over the place. Here's August. 5, 6, 7. 5s and 6s. See, it's hard with this Uber Eats because I have a lot fewer. This may just be from one delivery because I really don't do a whole lot of Uber Eats. Well, now I'm starting to do more. Now there's starting to be more. But these may just be from one delivery. So it's hard to have an average when you only have one. And if, I got one good tip, then there you go. Kind of skews everything. But, where DoorDash, I have a lot more deliveries averaged into these. Here's 6s and 7s again in September. 4s and 5s. Here's a 3. There's 5s and 7s. DoorDash for October. 7s and 8s. Here's a good week for here at Grubhub. It was probably just one. Like I said, when I have a real high number, it's usually just like one delivery. And there's no low one to balance it out. 5s and 6s mainly for Uber Eats. November. Starting to pick up for the holidays. 10s and 11s. Here's some 10s. Here's some 10s. Now here it was interesting. So December. I thought it was going to be much higher. Because I've had some pretty good nights in December. But obviously it's not all tips. A lot of it might be base pay or bonus pay or whatever. So I did a lot of Uber Eats in December. Very few Grubhubs, to be honest. I didn't get as many as normal. And a lot of DoorDashes. I have this week is right now. So I haven't even gone out yet this week. So this I'll put in here later. But this was last week. This was over, for Christmas. This was the Christmas week. I had a couple of really good nights. Christmas, the 23rd, it was pouring rain. Made really good money. And then Christmas Eve, it was also raining. And we made really good money. But obviously it was not all tips. But, well, I'll talk about that in a minute. Okay, there was some tips, but they're not included here. So, anyways, these were interesting results. I don't know about you, but it wasn't what I was expecting. The averages were pretty much $6, $7, $8 average tip, which is good. I'm not complaining at all. I just kind of thought it would be a little bit higher. Yeah. So I thought the average overall would have been higher. Keep in mind this data did not include any cash tips because I had those I had those listed separately and not tied to any particular platform. I really didn't even have them listed separately. I was trying to determine, so I have in the spreadsheet, I have an other section, and I don't think it was all cash tips. I'm not sure what's all in there because I don't really remember. So even though I have a separate amount listed separately, I'm not sure it was all cash tips. I'm not really sure what it was. It might have been like at the beginning when you when you get a half pay for DoorDash. I might have put some of those in there. I started breaking it out later, so I'm not sure what's in that other separate list of money. So I'm not going to even talk about that. But anyways, and over the year I did receive a handful of cash tips. I did not, like I said, I did not track them separately. And on Christmas Eve, got a $60 cash tip. So that was amazing. It was so unexpected. We pulled into this neighborhood. It's a very dark neighborhood. I'm so glad my husband was driving. It was pouring rain. It was really dark. And this one particular street, it's really hard to see the addresses. So we're pulling up, and my husband gets his flashlight out so we can see the address or whatever. And then the lady opens the door. I'm thinking, oh, it must be her house. And sure enough, at the same time, I saw the address on the mailbox. So I get the food and, walk over to her. And I was like, oh, Merry Christmas, whatever. And, I'm always very friendly if I see the customers. I handed her food, and she goes, hold on a second. She reaches in her pocket and pulls out some cash. And I'm like, oh, wow, this is great. I thought, maybe $5 or something. She kind of fans it out so I could see it. And it was $60. And I'm like, oh my God, thank you so much. That's so generous of you. And she's like, I just want to let you know how much I appreciate you out here in this terrible weather and the holidays and la la la. And I was kind of flabbergasted. I didn't know what to say. But I said, thank you, whatever. And then I got in the car and, to click that I had delivered the food. And I texted her a thank you again. And then she responded back. She goes, no, you are a blessing to us. We didn't have to go out in the rain and blah, blah, blah. So anyways, that was amazing. I was so shocked. I'm still shocked. It was great. Anyways, and then another time, I got a big cash tip. It was only $20, but at that time, I thought that was fantastic. I was at Cheesecake Factory waiting for an order. All she ordered, I think, was a couple pieces of cheesecake. There might have been some food. I don't even remember what she ordered. Must have been food and cheesecake. Oh, anyways, it doesn't matter. So I texted her. I'm like, oh my God, it's so crowded here. It's going to be a delay. They don't have your order ready. And she responded back, oh, I really want that cheesecake. How long do you think it's going to be? Blah, 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 blah. So I'm trying to get an answer from Cheesecake, and I'm texting her back and forth, and she's just cracking me up. We're just having this full-on conversation, and it's like I became friends with this lady and decided to wait there for her cheesecake. It was late at night. It was probably like 8:30, so it was probably going to be like my last delivery anyways. And I told my husband, I'm like, okay, I'm just going to wait for this lady. She's so nice, and she wants it so bad. So anyways, I'm chatting with her, and the poor kids that work at Cheesecake Factory, they're like just frazzled because they're so far behind and everything. Anyways, I finally get the food. I'm like, oh my God, I'm on my way with your food. She goes, oh, thank you so much. I'll wait out in front for you. I'm like, okay. And I get there and she's drunk. I think she'd been drinking the whole night, but she was like so friendly and so happy that I brought her a cheesecake. And she handed me a $20 bill, and she's, oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. La, 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 la. So, and she had already tipped close to $20 in the app. So it's like, wow. So that was a nice big payout. I mean, I did spend a long time waiting, probably at least 20 minutes waiting for that cheesecake. But anyways, that was previously the highest tip I had gotten, but the $60 was much better, but not really as much fun. The cheesecake lady was fun. Anyhow, all the other cash tips I had received previously were like $5 or less. And one lady actually comes out with a handful of change and says, I'm so sorry, I didn't tip enough in the app. You deserve more, and hands me this handful of change. I don't even know how much it was. It was like, oh, thank you. So anyways, that was fun. But anyways, that's why the cash tips are not included, because I didn't keep track properly. So anyways, this video was just the tips that were in the app. I think I'm going to do a similar one for base pay to see what that looks like. That ought to be interesting also, but this was very interesting to me. Have you ever done a similar calculation? I'm so curious to hear what your results were. Do you keep track of all this stuff? Do you have spreadsheets where you track the base pay and the tips and how many deliveries you do and that sort of thing? Be interesting to hear what other people's results are. So if you have that information, share it in the comments below. Love to hear what your experiences are. Anyways, I will update this after the end of the year, and I'll put the updated amount in the description of the video. So if you want to come back in a week or so and see what the last end of the year amount was, but it was pretty cool to look back and just see how many tips I actually got. You know, it's fun, and it was interesting too to watch. I obviously broke this down by week, but day to day in my data on Excel, you know, some days are much higher than other days. And it's like, I don't know if it didn't really line up with weekend days or weekday days or weekend in the daytime versus nighttime or anything. I couldn't find any correlation. It was just random. So, you know, it just depends on what customers you get at and what restaurants you go to, etc. Anyways, hope you enjoyed it. It was a lot of data, I know, and it was fun to do. So anyways, hope that you're staying healthy and safe and making lots of money, and I'll see you next time.